Welcome back to the channel. There was a question on the first video from John Wynn, and he says, good circuit, always looks impressive when something is hovering in midair. Would that coil also energise an LED attached to a coil? Good project. Well, that's what I'm intending to do in this video, which will be the third video in this little series. I've tried to use a coil here of 18 turns with an LED on it, and I get nothing from there. So instead, what I'm going to do is build what is basically bottle cap wireless from many years ago. In fact, they used to be made on these kind of bottle caps, and then put the circuit and the coil underneath, attached underneath there, and then have an LED underneath this bottle cap and see if we can get that LED to light from the wireless transmission of energy. I found out that an 18650 was a good form to wind the coil around, so I'll get that all arranged and we'll take a look. Well, how's this for a spin on things? I did get the coil inside the cap and then thought, oh no, it's not really levitating that well. I know I showed one of this kind of a shape that was levitating in the first video, but things are more stable and easier to set up if some of the mass is further down. So like on this screw, which has been highly successful, you can see that some of the metal mass is further down, and that does help with the levitation. So here's the spin on things. This light here arrived the other day and gave me an idea. If I was to turn the thing upside down, so that would be the light, similar to what I'm trying to do, and at the top here would be the coil, the receiving coil. I'm going to build something like that. Just based on this light having arrived, it gave the idea. Right, let's build it. Alright, so to look like the lamp, very briefly what I'll be doing is I'll use a 5mm LED rather than a 3mm LED so I can keep some weight towards the bottom. I'll cut out the top part of one of these water bottle tops, and I'll use a piece of a twizzle stick. It's got a hole through the middle, and so I'll be able to pass the wires through that. That's the plan. I'll get one made. And here it is, and you can see that it does look somewhat like the lamp. We've got the 5mm LED on the left, we've got that twizzle stick. What I've done is I've put a hole nearly at the top to pass the wire through from the coil down through the inside and to solder to the LED. So with that made, now we've got the weight kind of focused more at the bottom, so hopefully that's going to work. So now onto the drive circuit itself. There's the coil now stuck to the top, and here's the drive circuit, which ended up being a bit more protracted than I wanted. I did try to use a regulator to take it down from 5 volts to 1.5. That was a bit clunky and it ended up with some overheating of the transistor. So I thought, well, I'll get one of these instead. These are a DC to DC converter. That seemed to put out a lot better well, amperage control. So I've added a couple of resistors anyway. I'll show you on the circuit diagram towards the end of this video, and basically ends up with a decent enough 1.5 volt source that doesn't overheat the transistor, and we end up with decent enough output from that coil. I'll just show you that. Right, so if I offer it up towards the coil, there we are, you can see the light comes on, and for current usage, let's wait for it to come round. Yeah, very minimal still, that's great. About 10 milliamps is showing there, but it does use somewhere between that and about 60 or 70 or somewhere like this. But yeah, so the next thing is to dial in on the little pot and see if we can get it to levitate. Here's the circuit diagram. And I should have kept the camera going. All I had to do was change that very slightly, and here it is, levitating with the light on. And here it is running in a bit lower light. You can see how it's casting that blue onto the paper. But it looks really quite nice indeed. And it is very stable, of course. Very happy with that as well. I think the LED at the bottom does help that out. So there we are, this project's come a long way, but this will be the end of the series now. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope if you make one that yours runs. But there we are with the wireless electric levitator. Okay, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.